Hi guys, welcome back to the Social Tune. And today it's a big one, the top 50 best songs of 2017 overall. So in the past, making these lists was pretty tough. Narrowing down the thousands of songs I'd heard off of albums in a year down to just 50 used to be no small feat. This year though, everything seemed to click into place fairly easily. Part of it has to do with my filing system getting a lot better, but another part of it is that I had to hear every single song on this list several times in order to review the album, meaning they clicked for me fairly quickly and had me coming back consistently. With that said, I have no doubt that some of these picks will surprise you, especially if you haven't seen my mid-year list. And just to be clear, these are not the hits. If you want my best hits list for 2017, it'll be linked at the end of this video. For a song to make this list, it had to come off an album that came out in 2017 that I reviewed. So if you're wondering why a certain song isn't on this list and it meets those criteria, feel free to ask me about it in the comments down below. And with all that said, these are the top 50 songs of 2017. Let's get started.
Everybody's watching. She loves the way her body moves, and she loves the way they all crawl back when she says that she loves nobody else but you.
This year, while everyone was arguing whether or not Liam sucked or Harry rocked, the unsung hero Niall came up behind both of them and released his wonderful debut album, Flicker. An album filled with incredibly catchy and diverse pop songs, and this one was easily my favourite. A tight guitar loop and groove that reminds me a fair bit of Sugar by Robin Schulz is certainly welcome, but then you pair it with the lyrics about this girl who's a danger to all the guys around her. A wolf in sheep's clothing who's all too aware what she's doing to these boys. And as someone who fell for her tricks not once but twice before, Niall warns everyone to learn what they're getting into before taking the plunge. It's an awesome pop song with a dark edge which is right up my alley and an easy contender for this list.
I wonder if you know, oh, this town still talks about you like you never left.
If you're someone who moved away from home in order to start a new life on your own, this song will definitely strike a chord with you. As Natalie Hemby describes this person who moved away from their hometown, moving on with their own life. And yet, they're not forgotten because in a small town, one person leaving that community can have a huge impact. It's a beautiful pedal steel-led track that reflects something we can all relate to, namely the longing to leave an impact and be remembered. And as someone who apparently still gets asked about back home, this song fills me with a warm feeling that I can really appreciate. Great song. Okay, if you want a song that just drips dread and danger, then look no further than this gem from an unexpected source. Because when I think dark and horror, I don't usually think of R&B. But here Sampha proves me wrong in the best possible way, giving a chilling performance where you can almost feel him running for his life, as the dark shadows chasing him can smell the blood on him and are coming for him. With an ominous piano line, blasts of horns, and a ton of atmosphere where the drums could symbolize your pounding heartbeat and the backing vocals your ragged breaths, this track is easily one of the most chilling and best songs of the year. Algiers came back in a big way this year with their sophomore album, and the title track had me hyped for it from the very start. The ominous pianos and the tight bass lines are phenomenal on the verses, creating an incredible groove that is a fantastic foundation for our frontman Franklin James Fisher. And with the drums and the hand claps, not to mention the echoing backing vocals, it's a groove that really is hard to deny. And the way it bursts free into that triumphant chorus is just awesome and definitely reflective of the lyrics. See, this is a song that acknowledges the imbalance of power that we have now, with the downtrodden being beat down by the powerful. But they also know that at any point during history when this kind of imbalance has occurred, there's always a tipping point where the dynamics are flipped. And so the literal underside of power bides their time until they can rise up. Triumphant and threatening at the same time, it's a phenomenal song and a clear example of why Algiers is a band you need to be listening to.
The push. Now I smoke pounds of the kush. Holy, I'm burning the bush. Now I give a fuck about none of this shit. You run her over and out of this bitch.
Speaking of acts you need to be listening to, here's my most listened to song in 2017. Some would argue that it should be higher for that reason, but I'm doing this my way. And besides, the fact that it even made this list should speak volumes as to its quality. The bars here are some of the hottest on the entire album, with easily the funniest punchline coming from LP, which I'm not going to spoil for you, but let's just say it involves unicorns. Easily one of the best bangers we got all year, and already a fan favorite for the duo, it's also easily one of my favorites of 2017.
It's never going to stop. Give me your best shot.
Brand New was a wonderful band which many of us will miss. But hey, at least they went out on a high note, and the closer to what will probably be the band's final album is a wonderful swan song. It's a song that confronts the idea of mental illness and the realization that there may be no cure. It's a song where our protagonist actually steps up to the batting plate rather than waiting around on the benches waiting for something to bail him out. Here he finally accepts his situation and vows to learn to live with this disability rather than letting it conquer him. And paired with a phenomenal harmony of vocals, a fantastic and mournful chorus, and a guitar line that is one of the most beautiful compositions of the year, it's a song that's bound to bring a tear to your eye, yet also prepare you for the road ahead.
These are the games of the weekend. We pretend that we just don't care, but we care. When you dream with a fever, bet you wish you could touch our rush. But what will we do when we're sober?
I have a real thing for party songs that show the darker side of said party, and here with a ton of nervous energy courtesy of an off-kilter beat and sporadic drums, Lorde brings us just that. This is a song where two emotions are in conflict. The will to just lose yourself in the haze of it, consequences be damned, and the fear of what will happen when you come down from that high and actually do have to face the consequences. It's like if you took Here by Alessia Cara and fused it with Just Dance by Lady Gaga with better production and writing. And Lorde sells the entire thing effortlessly as the song is simultaneously exhilarating and terrifying. Incredibly tense and bound to make your heart race, but still not as much as...
I'm trying to escape my mind's eye, but my imagination is running wild. At this point, I'm talking to God. Please, Lord, please, I'm scared. Help me find my child. I run to the basement. Sweat beads on my hands, pacing.
I know that many people have written off Yelawolf as just a corny rapper with nothing good to offer, but trust me, you do not want to let this pass you by. I'm a big fan of storytelling rap, and this is one of the most tense and breathtaking ones that I've heard in a while. As Yelawolf sketches out a story of a father looking for his missing daughter over a simple and terrifyingly tense piano line. And even though Yelawolf doesn't actually have a daughter called Sabrina, he plays it so realistically that you could easily believe it's a true story. His performance is that incredible. And while I won't spoil the ending for you, let's just say that both Yelawolf and the instrumentation continually grow in intensity until they both reach an apex that is truly stunning. By far one of the most effective and uncomfortable songs of the year in the best possible way.
Well, I woke to the rise, sun going down, still taste of whiskey fresh on my mouth. Hot cup of coffee, smoke in my hand. Another day in the life of a guitar man. La da da.
So one of my favorite songs of all time is Billy Joel's Piano Man. And you can definitely tell the parallels between that and this song. But with that said, it's by no means a rip-off. This is a Kip Moore original through and through. I love songs where you can take a stock character and then write a song from their perspective. And Kip Moore sells this one excellently. It's a song about the guitar man, the guy who comes and goes and who everyone loves, yet doesn't really give a second thought to when he's not in town. Since unlike that cold jukebox in the corner whose music they could lose themselves in, it can't feel their pain or their happiness. There's a personal touch that a guitarist can bring to a bar like few others, and while his life is by no means easy, he's just happy to keep playing for them and bring them comfort in the only way he knows how. Richly detailed with a gorgeous blend of guitar and organ, it's by far one of Kip Moore's best songs as well as one of the best of the year.
Never mind, it's the feeling I've been wanting for time. Flying blind to a wall, strong drawing to shine. I just looked at the pictures. Didn't have a manual to build this. It's just a simple different feeling. Looking at pictures. I was given tools meant for building, with no instructions for the wielding. Look at the pictures.
Odyssey is by far one of the most slept on MCs currently working, and easily one of my favourite artists that I discovered this year. And this was by far the song that stuck with me the most. A fantastically off-kilter jazz and funk blend with random drum patterns, wonderful bass guitar, and a piano line that brings structure to the chaos, and somehow Odyssey flows over all of it effortlessly. And he is definitely spitting some truth here, diving into the unreasonable expectations that young African Americans have growing up, trying to be just like their favourite rappers who put forth a lifestyle of chains, riches and hustling that is mostly a put-on, but which many will nevertheless try to emulate. It's a reflection on a topic that most rappers wouldn't even bother to address, namely that there's no manual to life, so many young people will look for one in their immediate vicinity, like in their music. And Odyssey uses his own career as an example of that, with the standout line being, "I turned the sideline into a seat at the concession." Basically, he's not where he thought he'd be when he started out, but he's still in a place where he's happy, which he got to his own way. So follow his example, kids, and as corny as it may sound, aspire to be you, not your heroes. And this song is the perfect soundtrack to that.
Strong shot of whiskey, straight out the flask. I'll try to make it through without crying, so nobody sees. Yeah, she wanna get married, but she don't wanna marry me.
Look, whether or not you're a fan of Thomas Rhett, you can't deny that this is one of his best songs. And personally, as someone who spent the better part of 2 years hating the guy, this song came as a huge surprise and had me returning to it consistently from the day I heard it. The song sounds lovely with drums and gorgeous guitar flourishes that build to a fantastic crescendo on the bridge, but the real strength, believe it or not, comes in the lyrics, as it really does subvert your expectations, setting up a scenario of the girl he loves on her wedding day, only to reveal that he's not the groom. The hurt in his voice is clear, and the song is detailed in a way that is really charming. And near the end, just when it looks like he's going to grandly confess his love for her, he stops, takes a breath, and instead congratulates her on her big day. That's incredibly mature while still not sugarcoating the effort it takes, and to me, easily Thomas Rhett at his most impressive. By far his best and a well-earned spot on this list.
World out there might change your perspective. Spend so much time running around in that big old Pontiac. It's time to go back to where I learned what respect is. There's nothing wrong with Texas.
Okay, so if you were to pick out a punching bag in the US, well, okay, there are several, but one of them is definitely Texas. And so, here comes Sunny Sweeney's attempt to defend it. And the strange thing is, she does it all without making excuses for her home state. Instead, simply sketching out her own experience with it and the things she loves about it. And the key line here is, might have to leave to see that you want to come back. As it's only when she's away from there that she truly appreciates it as home, something many of us can definitely relate to. Paired with a phenomenal hook and some truly impressive strings and pedal steel, and you have a country ballad that I adore. Now, Now, some people will argue that pop punk is easily one of the most simple and interchangeable genres you could work in. And in my opinion, that's not true at all, because when it's done right, you can definitely tell. And from the very beginning, As It Is had my full attention with this song. A wonderful guitar-driven hook, a guitar solo that shreds with the best of them, and easily one of As It Is's best written songs to date. Diving into how people's lives may seem perfect from a distance, but once you take a closer look, it all falls apart. By far one of the catchiest songs released in 2017, and easily one that I will happily champion.
We go falling off the wagon. Got ourselves a real bad habit. Girl, you got me acting like an addict. All messed up no matter what. You know I just gotta have it.
And speaking of songs that I've been praising from the get-go, my god, I've said before that Brett Young is underrated, but this song really does blow my mind to this day. It's a brutally punishing song about alcoholism. His mistress that he keeps returning to, keeps making excuses for, yet clearly has no control over. And the way the scenario doubles as a relationship that he keeps returning to despite himself made the song an easy favorite of mine from the very beginning. Please guys, don't let the singles fool you. This guy has real talent and this song is proof. Fantastic job.
How can anybody have you? How can anybody have you and lose you? How can anybody have you and lose you? Not lose their minds too. How can anybody have you? How can anybody have you and lose you?
Annie Clark came back with a vengeance this year on Mass Seduction. And while many were mixed on the album as a whole, most agreed that this track was an easy standout. I've said before that songs diving into the vapidity of LA will always have a place in my heart, and this song definitely takes full advantage of that. Not only does it dive into their obsession with youth and perfection, but also the jealousy and the will to preserve it that the older generation has. It's a chilling song with a punishing industrial sound that ends up fading into mournful strings and synths that nevertheless manages to be gorgeous, biting, and incredibly smart. Yet another example of why St. Vincent is a genius, phenomenal track.
No sympathy for foes, my enemies exposed, but they remember me when I'm gone. I say rockabye, 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 baby. Shatta boy, shatta go crazy. Men no play games, so please don't play me. Look at what they made me.
Okay, All American Badass may have been an album that ran together a bit, but the easy standout from the very beginning was clearly Rockabye Baby. A slightly off-kilter yet threatening piano line, menacing bass, and ghoulish multi-tracking on Joey Badass's voice that gives the song a ton of atmosphere, and that's all before you get to the gangster rap content, as both our MCs reflect on their past of drug dealing and our current society of inequality, where nothing has really changed, which Schoolboy Q probably puts best with the simple yet genius line, yet oddly we still ain't even. And as they encourage the Bloods and the Crips to lay down their arms and come together under one banner to fight the real enemy, you can definitely feel the threat here, now directed in one particular direction. By far one of the best rap songs of the year.
I did it all, knowing you thought I was the hero of your heart, but I turned out to be the breaker.
Out of all the songs on this list, this one probably grew on me the most. But yeah, The Breaker is just one of those songs that sticks with you from the moment you hear it, and at this point, it's probably my favorite song that Little Big Town has ever released. It's a song where a guy has just broken up with a girl for both of their sakes since he didn't feel they were right for each other. The only problem is, he assumed that she felt the same way, which it turns out, she didn't. And now he's racked with guilt for breaking her heart, wanting to relieve her pain, yet completely powerless to do so. It's an uncomfortable situation to be in, and Little Big Town sketches it out expertly with some phenomenal harmonizing to boot. Fantastic job, guys. This one is something special.
There ain't no genie in this bottle, and I've been looking with every pore.
Okay, look, whenever Jason Eady drops an album, it's pretty safe to assume that at least one of them will make my year-end top 50. And this track is yet another gem to add to his ever-expanding collection of classics. At first glance, it's a strange song about wanting to fix the past with the help of a genie. Heck, he's such a great guy that he even says he would release the genie after just one wish. But then we get to the chorus, which shows him drinking through bottle after bottle, not finding what he's looking for at the bottom of any of them. This is a portrait of a man who has made mistakes and desperately wants to fix them. And the only way that he can see to escape them is alcohol, giving the song a depressing angle that really did get to me. Brilliantly written, paired with an incredible chorus and a wonderful blend of pedal steel and guitar, it's a beautiful song that will put a tear at the bottom of anyone's glass.
County, Texas, where 4,000 die. Down in Jackson, Mississippi, they don't have to hide. But in a
This song has been my alarm for about 6 months now, and believe me, it is terrifying to wake up to. As it should, since this is a nightmarish track with the overlapping backing vocals and guttural screams that are designed to make your blood run cold. Because this is a song where the African Americans killed in the past come back to enact revenge on those who murdered them. And as you'd expect, it's haunting in every sense. Paired with an absolutely terrifying bridge and yet another phenomenal performance from Franklin James Fisher, and you have yet another easy highlight in Algiers' discography.
winning it, spitting it, ready raw rap shit, rhyme ridiculous. Enemy grave, he digging it, then we pissing it. Us go to hell, we pinning it, getting it.
Okay, LP is well known for making crazy beats for Run the Jewels and many others. But holy shit is this out there. An incredible industrial blend of percussion, electronics, synths, and liquid electric guitar touches, and across all of it, the absolutely frenetic cymbals. Seriously, how do you make cymbals the main instrumental in your beat on such a fast-paced song? And then you have our MCs. Killer Mike starts out with his verse of The Masters versus the People, before dropping into a triple time flow that is utterly savage. Then LP comes in with an off-kilter flow that somehow fits perfectly, with loads of internal rhymes that will blow your mind. And to top off all of that madness, then you have Danny Brown, who absolutely kills his verse and is possibly the best one out of the three. The lesson here is, Danny Brown needs LP to produce his next album, because if he does, he may yet top Atrocity Exhibition, which I didn't even think was possible. Awesome song.
They say you're a little much for me. You're a liability. You're a little much for me. So they pull back, make other plans. I understand.
And now, by contrast, here's one of the most brilliantly written and heartfelt piano ballads I've heard in years. I'm serious, this is the moment where Lorde won me over completely, through a simply incredible performance that is filled with emotion. And the lyrics reflect that, basically a deconstruction of her own persona, as people tell her that she's just too intense, not just as an artist, but also as a person. Yeah, sure can relate to that. It's honest, it's heartfelt, and will probably make every single best songs list out there for damn good reason. Excellent job, Lorde. Your intensity is welcome here anytime.
It's all in my mind and all of the time, babe. It's all in my mind and all of the time, yeah.
You know, sometimes all you need to make a fantastic song is just one killer hook, and here the indie rock band Spoon easily delivered with one of the best songs of their careers. The chorus and that guitar melody will get stuck in your head for days, and frontman Britt Daniels delivers it all with a slick sense of cool that you normally really wouldn't expect from him. It does fit though, considering this song is about how sexy you think you are, which in this scenario is very. It's ridiculously egotistical, and the band is well aware of that, making for an absolutely wonderful song. by far one of the biggest surprises of this year for me was just how much I enjoyed Wolf Alice's follow-up album, and this is the song that blew me away most of all. The verses are delivered in a breathy spoken word delivery which would be annoying if it weren't fueled with such emotion, because this is a song from the point of view of a woman who has feelings for a guy yet is afraid to tell him. So much so that she even deletes the kisses at the end of her text messages to the guy. It's an obviously ridiculous mindset, something you'd expect from a teenage girl, but thankfully they do acknowledge that. She's perfectly aware of just how ridiculous she's being, yet she can't help how she feels. That just makes this song adorable to me, and that final chorus where she takes the plunge really is touching. Absolutely love this song, hope to hear more great music from the band in the future.
Took my hand and said something you should see.
Deep Purple are masters of rock and roll, as any sane person will tell you. And so even on their weakest albums, you can definitely find some hidden gems. And this year, that gem was The Surprising, which showcases Deep Purple's biggest strengths to the fullest, namely their incredible talent for composition. The song is nearly 6 minutes long, yet you're so swept up in the epicness that you barely notice. And lyrically, it's about the devil himself tempting a rock star to commit sin. But like I said before, the true strength of this song is definitely the instrumentation. The song starts out with drums and guitar setting up a mysterious atmosphere, but then you get the drum and keyboard line that is the main hook of this song and sounds incredible, before breaking down into organ, synths, and drums that sound like they were pulled out of an Alien film from the early 70s. And then the electric guitars come back for a solo that just goes on, and oh my god, it's awesome. And then finally it all starts again before building to a final incredible climax. Incredible song, yet another classic to add to Deep Purple's name. Feel free to retire anytime now, guys. This is definitely a fitting note to end on. This is by far one of the most atmospheric songs released this year. I mean, seriously, how do you conjure up such a gothic atmosphere without a single guitar? But that's exactly what this is, with the ominous low keyboard line, the echoing, pounding drums, and a choir of backing vocals that just sound incredible. And over all that, you have an unforgettable poetic hook, and John Darnielle bitterly lamenting the death of goth culture. A safe space that so many loved and yet are now forced to leave behind and forget. And yet it's not so much a lament so much as it is a time capsule of that era, filled with clubs where you can find people who are just like you and drenched in dark and pagan symbolism. It's a tragic ode to a beloved culture that is sure to strike a chord with many. And from the moment I heard it, it was destined to make this list. Incredible job, guys. This is a fitting tribute that you absolutely knocked out of the park.